The New York Yankees have started off the 2022 season blazing hot. They have shot out of the gates very, very quickly, and they right now have the best record in the MLB. But the big question is, can the Yankees hold on to it? Will they have a collapse, or will they be able to hold on and continue and have the best record in the MLB? That's a question to be seen. My name's Derek. I'm here with Luke. You're watching Bleacher Brawls. And are the Yankees going to be able to continue this success so late into the season? All right, so I'm going to start off with Luke here. Can the Yankees continue the success deep into the season? They've started off well early, but will it be sustained throughout the season?
I think that you can't sustain this you certainly can't sustain this kind of run right now. As of today, their winning percentage is 735. By the time this gets uploaded, that'll have changed a little bit one way or another, but I'm not taking away anything from their start. They've been playing great. They've been, doing everything right. They've been hitting, they've been pitching, they've been fielding, not taking anything away from that. But the reason I believe that they are going to take a tumble and they are going to blow this great start and totally end up kind of on the reverse of what they're doing now is the makeup of the team. It really hasn't changed much since last year. And what did we see from them last year? They were a boomer bust, home run or nothing kind of team. And I still think that's who they are at their core. I mean, I guess they've been hitting pretty well this year. They're not just relying on home runs, but that's not the team that was put together here. Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa being added, and the catchers and whatever other small changes they made doesn't change what they are. The numbers are going to come back to earth, and it's going to show the kind of team that they are, which is similar to what they were last year. Not a team that's going to run away with the division like the AL East and be wire-to-wire division leaders.
Yeah, I do think this Yankees team, they obviously have had that great start. They right now are top in the MLB in weighted runs created for a team. They are third in starting pitching ERA, and they are first in reliever ERA. They've literally done everything you can do, and their fielding has been good too. The additions of Kiner-Falefa has been good. Trevino behind the plate has really helped their defense behind the plate. They are like one of the best teams defensively behind the plate now, whereas last year they were horrendous. So that's another big step that they've taken. But the one thing I do got to talk about with the Yankees team is injuries. It always comes up. And who's been a big factor in the Yankees rotation this year? Luis Severino. Well, guess what? Can he stay healthy? These are the guys in the field, Stanton, Judge. Can they stay healthy for a whole season? And other guys there too. Can they stay healthy? These guys aren't gonna, and also these guys aren't gonna keep this rapid pace. Like Rizzo started off the first 10 games, he had it felt like 20 homers. He's not gonna do that the rest of the whole season. He's just not. So I think too, you gotta expect them to come back to earth a little bit. I don't think there's going to be some massive just fall off a cliff drop, but it's going to start gradually coming back to earth. And I think that the one team that will give them competition in the AL East is going to be the Rays, because the Rays are just always consistent throughout the whole season.
And the Rays are about 500 now, and they're doing their thing. They're playing game after game, and by the time you get to 162, the Rays are going to have a lot more wins than they have losses, because that's the team they are. And the Yankees aren't this team that is just winning game after game after game. I mean, do they have the players on paper? I mean, yeah, you could say they have the players on paper, but this is the Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton show. Has been for the whole first month of the season. They're both killing it. Judge is hitting 306 with 12 home runs, I think. Giancarlo Stanton's at 300 with, I think, 10 home runs. They're killing it. That's what Stanton does. He goes on monster tears, and then he kind of falls off the face of the earth for a couple months. Didn't really happen last season. And he was healthy all last season, as was Judge was healthy all last season. They both had great years. And look what they were. They were a fourth place team in a great division, but still not the kind of team that whooped that keeps winning day after day like this. Judge and Stanton were both healthy all last year. Is that going to happen 2 years in a row? Has that ever happened to either of them? I mean, Stanton probably had it when he was younger with the Marlins, probably had a couple, but I mean, he's so big, he's going to hurt him. He's going to strain his oblique, swinging his massive biceps around one of these days. Judge, kind of a lanky kind of guy, the kind of body type that gets injured a lot. He has a lot of injuries. One of them goes down, that changes everything, because you got Rizzo, who he'll be good all year. He's hitting like 235 right now. He's not like killing it, but he's got 9 home runs. He doesn't hit home runs at that kind of rate. He'll be a good player. He's not the kind of guy that's going to carry you on your back for a month or two, the way Judge and Stanton do, the way they did all year last year. And DJ LeMahieu, he's probably their 4th best player. He doesn't have a position. He is literally being used as a utility man. So when they hit a streak, a bad streak, a slump where they're losing games, he's going to be looking at Gleyber Torres saying, why aren't I the starting second baseman? He's going to be looking at Kiner Falefa and saying, yeah, this guy plays great D, but look at me. He's in the lineup every day. I'm sitting as often as I'm sitting. He's not. And Josh Donaldson, I should have mentioned earlier, because he gets hurt all the time too. Good player, hasn't been doing great. They got, other than Judge and Stanton and Rizzo, nobody's really doing much. Gallo has been absolutely atrocious, hitting under 200. Donaldson, Hicks, Torres, Gallo, they're all hitting under 240. They don't have enough talent, I think, to complement their big three enough to beat up on all the other really good teams in the playoffs. But if Judge or Stanton goes down, which I expect them to, I think the same thing. It's going to be even a bigger problem for them, because they've got a bunch of subpar guys and a lot like the Red Sox. They got 3 really good hitters on the team and a bunch of nothing to support them. I don't think they can sustain nearly this kind of success over the course of a whole season using that offensive formula.
Yeah, and I got into it a little bit in the Angels video last week, where I said the Angels have that feel about them, that they're ready to be legit this year and they're ready to make that run.
Oh yeah, they are.
And the big thing I said was the depth of the lineup, the depth of the rotation. I look at the Yankees, I go depth, and I'm like, yeah, their lineup's deep, yeah, their pitching's deep on the surface. What happens when guys get injured? Right now, your outfield is Aaron Hicks, Joey Gallo, Aaron Judge, and then Stanton occasionally. If one of them gets down, you need another guy to play the outfield. You're either going to Miguel Andujar or Tim Locastro. There's not many options. Someone in the infield gets injured, and who knows? Yeah, maybe you can fit in both Gleyber and DJ LeMahieu, but your next best option on the bench is Marwin Gonzalez. If 2 guys get injured, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So, and even if one infield guy gets injured and one outfield guy gets injured, now you have a totally empty spot in line that you're gonna have to put one of these bench guys / AAA guys that, yes, you think Yankees can always make a move and fill in the roster if it's a long-term injury, but then again, it's something that, and it goes for their pitching as well. I mean, their starting rotations look very, very good.
Amazing.
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
Pitching staff,
the whole
starting
pitching
and
staff.
relievers.
But the thing with their starting pitching for me is, yes, Garrett Cole. He's one of the better pitchers in the American League. And Luis Severino, when he's on, can be very, very good. Jordan Montgomery is solid in the rotation. He's solid. He's a solid rotation pitcher. I think he's been better this year than what I think he will do overall this year, but he's been solid. But the big thing though is, can they stay healthy? Nestor Cortez is going to have a 1.40 ERA the whole year. He's not. And can they stay healthy? Severino, that's a big question. A couple other guys in the rotation, it can be a question. And yes, they have some guys that you could call up, but it's not like they have a bunch of them. That's the thing. You have Luis Gil, Domingo Germán, maybe we'll see. And there's David Garcia, who's just, he's all over the place. His prospect status is kind of waned, and that's kind of done with. So that's the thing. The Yankees, for me, they don't have the depth to, if they have a big injury, they're not going to be able to overcome it.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be injuries that undermine them. I just think it's going to be an overall mediocrity comment. And that may be kind of a harsh word to use on a team like this with how that's doing this well. But I mean, Cole as their ace. Yeah, that's great. He's an awesome guy to be at the top of the rotation. And I think their chance of keeping up a big time kind of success and winning the American League East is going to depend on having Cole and a healthy, at his peak, Luis Severino as the 1 and 2 starters in that rotation. And I don't think that's going to happen because Severino, he hasn't pitched a full season for 3 seasons. His arm, he says, is feeling good for the first time in 3 years, but I mean, he hasn't put that kind of workload on it in 3 seasons. I don't expect him to make it the whole year. I mean, he's been their worst of their 5 starting pitchers so far. His ERA is over 4. None of the other guys are. But, you know, Montgomery, he's fine. Tyone, he's fine. They're both good guys to have at the bottom part of your rotation. But they're not going to, you know, if it's Cole, then Montgomery, then Tyone, then Cortez, there's too much of a lack of dominance there. And Cole isn't that guy who's going to dominate every single time out. Against good teams, he'll have a lot of trouble. Cortez, I don't want to take anything away from. He had a great year last year. He's picking up where he left off, but he's not like this dominant kind of star pitcher that's going to gut you out a win. You know, their pitching has been great as their offense has been great. They've been working in tandem well together, enough to win. I don't think either of their pitching staff or their lineup can really sustain that, is good enough to sustain that, especially if there's an injury. And I expect Severino to get hurt. And the bullpen has been great, but it's dependent on Aroldis Chapman. And he always starts off great. And then he hits his spot where he doesn't know where the ball's going. He walks 4 or 5 guys in an inning, gives up a couple home runs. And you can't throw 102 miles an hour all season, especially at 34 years old. At least Chapman can't, and still be pitching really well at the end of the season. Once he topples, everyone in that bullpen changes to a different role. And then who picks up for him? Maybe Clay Holmes can, but is he the kind of guy who's going to anchor a bullpen in a pennant race? You know, just one of many reasons I expect them to fall off.
Yeah, a little bit technical difficulties here, but it's all right. But my big thing here is the Yankees is this offense is going to be able to hold this for the whole time. Their catching spot, yes, it's been good defensively, but they're not going to get much offense out of it. And the thing is, with the rest of their lineup, they don't have guys who are just going to be like, can you get a nice little base hit for me besides DJ LeMahieu? You know, or they don't have the guy who can go, you know what, I'll lay down a sacrifice bunt, because Aaron Judge isn't doing that. Joey Gallo's not doing that. Aaron Hicks isn't doing that. Giancarlo Stanton isn't doing that. Anthony Rizzo isn't doing that. Gleyber Torres isn't doing that. Josh Donaldson isn't doing that. Anthony Rizzo isn't doing that. So you have DJ LeMahieu when he plays, and then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And Kiner-Falefa is known to not still be the greatest hitter. And his defense is amazing at shortstop. I love his defense. I've been very high on him because of his defense, but he's not gonna, be some very good hitter. So that's the thing for me, the Yankees. They don't have situational hitters besides DJ LeMahieu. Obviously, Rizzo can do it a little bit, but he's still not going to poke a single to left field, whereas LeMahieu will.
And home runs are down league wide, and they're not down for them, but they're going to get down for them. I mean, they can only use that porch of theirs so often during the season. These numbers are going to even out. They're all Rizzo, Judge, and Stanton are hitting a ton of home runs early on, and that's going to fizzle out. Even though they're all good players, I think LeMahieu is the big thing. I think he's a team first guy, I'm sure, but he sees that he's looked at as the 10th guy in this lineup. I don't think he's going to take that kind of disrespect. But the biggest thing for them that's going to hold them back, and they're going to watch them blow this great start, end up finishing badly, and end up making the playoffs, but in a low seed that ends up being a real disappointment. I think it's going to cost Boone and Cashman their jobs at the end of the year. It's going to come down to the DNA of this team, and they are not winners. There isn't a single guy on the team with a ring except Chapman. I'm almost positive of that. And they are used to, these players are pre-programmed to choke when it gets most important, aside from the fake season run in 2020, where they really surprised a lot of people. These guys aren't winners. These guys, when the chips, when the going really gets tough, they're going to fold. They always have. They're not tough guys. They're not, warriors to go out on the field and fight people like the Red Sox were last year. They're nice guys that play baseball and are good at it, but Donaldson's the only like hard-edged guy in that locker room. And how much is his voice even going to matter when he's limping through the season after he suffers an injury in July? Aaron Judge, he's the captain, by all accounts, a good guy, good team. We all saw the kid crying in the stands when he got the Aaron Judge ball handed to him. But where's he going to play in 2023? He doesn't even know. Nobody knows. I don't think he's buying into the Yankee system. I think he'll be a good soldier. He's going to play to win all year, but there's not a lot of fire. There's not a lot of,
there's not that buy-in.
Really loud, important voices on that team.
Yeah, they don't have that buy-in. Rizzo and Chapman are the two who won a World Series on the Yankees team, but both with the Cubs. Both with the Cubs. Let's be honest. Yeah. Both of that Cubs team that was destined to win the World Series. Awesome
Cubs team.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to call them losers, but this team, it's a team full of losers. I mean, just face it. When the dog days of summer hit, they got, they're competing with the Rays and the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. They are not the best team on that. They're the fourth team out of that four. So, and we're going to see that at the end of the season, and that's where they're going to line up. They'll probably make the playoffs because everybody's making the playoffs this year, but it's going to end up being an embarrassment, especially after the start. That's one reason I'm so glad the beginning of the season in retrospect is playing out as it did, because everybody's doubting the Red Sox and everyone's big on the Yankees. And at the end of the year, it's going to end with the Red Sox coming from out of nowhere and the Yankees, fizzling out after being at the top of the mountain, and everyone's going to look back and think, yeah, these are pretty much the same kind of teams as they were last year. Only the Red Sox are going to finish higher than they did last year.
Yeah. But before we wrap it up, the Yankees schedule from like the end of May on, they play teams like Tampa, the Angels, they get Detroit, but then they get Minnesota. The Cubs could be a bogey team. Then you have the Rays, the Blue Jays, the Astros. Then you got Oakland. Okay, cool. But then you got Houston, Cleveland, who could be contenders for the AL Central. If you have missed our AL Central video, go check it out. Then you get Pittsburgh, but then you get Red Sox, Cincinnati, and then you get Red Sox again before the All-Star break. There's not a lot of easy games. There's a couple like Pittsburgh, Oakland, games in there. But besides that, the Yankees are going to have a stretch of a lot of good teams, and that's going to show us when the All-Star break comes where they are, will show us what kind of team they truly are. And that's the thing.
And it's going to result in them falling back, and a lot of it's going to be because of the DNA and their character. Aaron Boone being the man, he's the perfect manager for this team. Not that he's the best, manager to have them reach success, but because his personality matches the personality of this team so well. He'll go there, he'll do the job and be gung-ho and golly gosh, I'm going to try and win me a baseball game. But afterwards, he's just going to come off as milquetoast and bland and, not that great after all. And he's going to be looking for another job at the end of the year, as Brian Cashman will be. After this kind of start and letting them down with a 4th, 5th, 6th seed in the playoffs and an early first-round exit, there's going to be no more acceptable excuses in New York. It's going to be a new regime change.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. When you get towards the deadline, it doesn't matter how good you are, you still have to push the right buttons at the deadline. You still have to. That's a big thing. But that's going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this video, comment. We're going to be active in the comment sections if you guys comment down there. So make sure to comment. Make sure to check out all our Red Sox game recaps. Make sure to check out our prospect videos. Make sure to check out our previous 2 Monday and Friday videos, which were on the Los Angeles Angels last Monday, and on Friday we had one on the AL Central. Who's going to win the AL Central? Go watch to find out. Make sure to look in the description. We'll have the Twitter for Bleacher Brawls. We'll have all the crew's Twitters. We will have the Bleacher Brawls website down there. If the podcast has officially started by now, by the time it's uploaded, we will have that in the description. If not, make sure to follow us all on Twitter and follow Bleacher Brawls on Twitter, because that's when we'll be throwing out information. And we will have be doing live Twitter spaces at times too. So you should also follow us to make sure if you want to catch those. My name is Derek. This is Luke. You're watching Bleacher Brawls. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.